Yo, 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 what's up, everyone? I'm back. Just, just kidding. I'm not. I'm still at home. But I will be back by Wednesday at the latest. So I'm gonna try and make this video super, super quick. Brings me back to my old school Zoom days. And then you'll have the rest of time to get all the paperwork passed back to you, get your binders all organized, no homework tonight, all that stuff. Be nice to Mr. Scotty K. He's a buddy of mine. And then I do have a quote from Mr. Oliveri. It says, "Don't forget to turn in your binders. I'll be back in time for open house on Thursday, and you want something to show your parents. No cap. It'll be poggers or what other lingo you might have." So today, your job is to, once I'm done with this video, get your binders all organized with all that work I'm going to pass back, turn in anything that didn't get turned in last week, and we will catch up and review everything that's not getting reviewed in this video, at least, when I get back. So there's some really quick things before you get released and pass out all that work. That is the Inca city of Machu Picchu, which has this long story about how it's hidden for hundreds of years because it is so incredibly high up in the mountains. I just want you to look at those buildings. You can see the people down there to get an idea of just how large these buildings are. And then I need you to understand that, like, for example, Lima, Peru, which is founded by the Inca Empire, is 2 miles up. So if anyone ever been to Denver, where like football players have to bring those oxygen masks so that they get enough oxygen because the air is so thin, that's 1 mile up. Lima, Peru, 2 miles, twice as high as Denver, Colorado. Totally, totally insane. And if you look down here on the right side over here, you can see some signs of how they actually farmed in these giant, massive mountains called the Andes Mountains in Peru. And so here's some terraces built by the Inca, which I like to call food stairs because that's what they're used for. They're basically giant stairs that are used to make, you got it, food. I just think it's super, super cool and interesting. And since I wasn't there for those conversations, I want to remind you that these things exist and you can still go walk around and see them. The other thing from the Inca that I really quickly wanted to hit in this video was these group of people called the Chalky Runners. And so what they would do is they would run messages along the entire Inca Empire because there was no written language. And so the Chalky, everyone understand this, could pass a message from here to Santa Barbara, about 200 miles, in one single day by running on the top of mountains that look like that. It's straight up crazy. I would argue it's why they don't develop a written language, because they had an effective messaging system that they didn't even need to invent a written language. And one of the ways they did this, do you see this rope that the guy's holding here? It's called a kipu, and it shows up in one of the assignments for you, but I want to make sure you understand it. Here's a kipu that we found, and what each one of those ropes represents, one of those threads that are going down with the knots, is it's basically information in rope form. Now, is this a written language? No, it's not a written language, but is it basically the same as a written language? Ooh, yes, I would argue it absolutely is. And so I could actually make you do some Incan math using quipus, where on the left side shows how they write these messages in knots and carry this message along this 200-mile path. Sorry, it's longer than 200 miles. They can do 200 miles in a single day. The Inca Empire. Ask me on Tuesday or Wednesday. I will look it up. But I don't want to pause the video right now, so deal with it. Just absolutely crazy how they're using this to pass messages along. As a reminder, the Inca, in particular, because they lack a written language, are often seen as uncivilized savages, even though they have a messenger system that is better than anything that gets invented in the Western world until America decides to basically take messengers and throw them on new horses, which is called the Pony Express. The Inca don't have horses. They just have lots and lots of incredibly good runners and this Kipu system of these knotted ropes. We still don't know all the ways that this tells the story of the messages that are getting passed. And so there's people whose entire jobs is to dig open and look at these Kipus that they find and try and figure out what they're saying. On the left side, we do have confirmation that the Kipus count into the tens of thousands, and even further probably, by where those knots are and the shape of the knots. Super, super cool. I promise I won't make you do Inca math. I think I already broke your heart enough with the Maya math. So that's the Inca. I left you on a little cliffhanger of what happens to the Inca. Shh, I'm not telling you yet. Spoiler alert, it has something to do with all that gold they have. But additionally, the other group that we've talked about are the Aztec. That is the Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan. It was discovered or chosen because one of the Aztec leaders finds or gets a vision that they should make their capital of their new empire wherever they see a snake getting eaten by an eagle on top of a cactus. And so that's where it is, this island filled with venomous snakes in the middle of Mexico. It's modern day Mexico City, the capital of Mexico, and the Mexican flag has in the middle of it, ready, crazy, it has an eagle eating a snake on top of a cactus. Now look at that picture on the right side. Tell Mr. Kravitz where that picture comes from in case he doesn't know. And that's all I have in our short little review video. Your job for the rest of the class. Get all that work passed out, get your binders all nice and organized to be turned in, and then make a stack all beautifully stacked at the front of the class. That is just your class, not the other class. Don't mix them up. That has your binders turned in. And otherwise, one last thing, grades are almost fully updated. I only have one assignment left to do, which was that Mayan accomplishments thing, plus the stuff you did last week while I had COVID. So double check your grades, make sure they're accurate, and I will be back hopefully Tuesday, definitely Wednesday. And thank you all for being awesome. You continue to be not a miserable group of students to teach. I really appreciate the hard work that you're putting in. And you should know where that statue is. On that note, peace. Oliveri out. Bye-bye.